Welcome, Taryn.
Thank you, Jo. Thanks for having me.
Taryn Henstock from Cycle Lab, MoreCycle.
Yes.
What is your job description? What is your job title?
So I'm the marketing manager for cycling within the group. So not only Cycle Lab, but obviously all the subdivisions and little sub-companies below that.
And the brands?
Brands. Wow. So it's obviously MoreCorp. Then there is Cycle Lab. Then we've got Cycle Lab Active. We've got the Bike Park. We've got the school series. We've got Cycle Lab Active Women. I feel like I'm missing
Multi-Park?
Multi-Park, another one, yeah. My Cycle Life. So there's a couple.
So there's a lot on your plate, I believe.
A fair amount. It's quite a dynamic space to be in. We move quickly, but love it.
And how do you find being a woman in the industry?
So I must be honest, Jo, initially it's quite intimidating because it is a space that is traditionally held more room for men. I feel it often when we're sitting in meetings, and more often than not, I'm the only woman sitting there. So really stupid examples, doing course reviews. You know, you go and you meet the gents from the schools, you'll go and map out the courses for the Cycle Lab school series. And honestly, I'm more often than not, like I said, the only woman. But it's cool. I love that. You know?
It's cool, but it's sad.
It is. I lean into it. I think that we just need to get past that initial sort of first thought that most people have, that it's not a space for women and that mountain biking is scary.
No, exactly. I mean, that's one of my core things as well, is that it's intimidating. It's a male-dominated sport. How do we go about changing that narrative? How do we go about building women? And that's why we've started Elevate, our little podcast, to elevate women, to give them a platform to express, to talk, to share. So thanks so much for coming and joining us.
No worries. Anytime. Glad to be part of the journey, because it really is something that we can do together. And I think for women, it's just understanding that if it's a sport you're wanting to take up, you're not alone. There are many other women that feel the exact same way that you do. And it's just about breaking down that barrier.
Yeah, and it's, as I said, I think on our TREAD survey, we've got about 25% women, which is up from about, I think it was about 19 or 21% on the previous year. So it's growing. And it's going to be up to people like us to put in that effort and maybe go the extra mile to encourage women to take up the sport.
100%. So it's something we feel really strongly about. I'm sure we'll get to there later. But just the Cycle Lab Schools mountain bike series, you know, laying those roots at grassroots level, it's so key. You know,
how many girls have you got coming to those?
So
events?
we've seen a really nice increase year on year. So last year we averaged about 20% girl participation. So 1 in 5 of our riders is a girl. This year we've set lofty goals for 30%, so an increase of 50% year on year.
That'll be impressive.
So we're only 2 races into the season, so it's too early to tell, because obviously each race brings different riders. You get a different, you know, set of schools that participate.
Is that because they're in different areas?
Yes. So we never see the exact same riders. So many of the kids do ride all the events, but some, for whatever reasons, it might be a clash of school terms, other activities. So
school sports, traditional school sports.
100%. But already we've seen a 5% increase year on year. So for the 2 events that we've had so far, we've got 5% more than what we did last year. And while that doesn't sound like a lot, for us, it's a number.
No, it's growth.
It is growth.
And that's what you've got to focus on. Focus on the positives, focus on the growth. And is there anything like special, or is there anything that the girls do differently or get differently at events?
No. So I think at this point, you know, we're just trying to grow that rider participation. There is stuff that's in the pipeline, which I don't want to let the cat out the bag, but definitely girl-specific things that we have got in the pipeline. So
That's
not yet.
cool.
It's coming.
It's
though.
coming.
Yeah.
But that's cool. As long as there's plans,
Yes.
and it's going to materialize at some point, I'm sure we're all going to benefit.
100%. And for us, just bringing some of the sponsors on board that feel as strongly about women in cycling. So a couple of them have put their hands up and want to get involved. And you'll see just from who their ambassadors are, you know, that female cycling and participation is key to them. So we love having companies that are aligned with us. It's driving. There's a much bigger thing that we're all trying to achieve.
That's so exciting, especially for me. I've been in the sport for too long, so I get a bit jaded.
How long have you been riding, Jo?
Mountain bikes started in 1991.
Okay.
So what's that, 33 years?
Okay.
So yeah, been around.
Been a while.
Yeah, and before that a little bit of road, but mountain biking came to the country in 91, so that's when I pretty much started.
Okay, that's amazing.
So with your school series, what are the entry fees for those? I mean, I don't know what the entry fees are, and what does your entry fee include for a school event?
So each entry to the events is 200 Rand. And what the riders get for that is obviously the ability to participate in a safe environment. It is a sanctioned, is that the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say sanctioned.
It's part of Cycling South Africa under the schools. Is it schools?
So it's a official. So it gives the riders that credibility in that the timing, the rules, the governance of the day, and everything is compliant and in line with Cycling South Africa. So they get to participate in a day. They're safe, and for us, that's a key thing, is to make sure that the kids can come, they can ride their bikes. We know they're safe. That is key.
Especially in the South African
100%
climate.
100%. So with that, their 200 Rand, what they get in exchange, the ability to do that, they get a medal. They also get a 200 Rand Cyclab voucher for every event. So
it's a no-brainer.
So
they're getting their money back.
Yeah. So they, in effect, they kind of can ride for free, and that they get it all back. So with that, then what that allows them to do is to go to any store. They can get what they need for the sport, whether it's consumables,
a pair of socks.
100%.
No, that's brilliant. And I know CycleLab is really good at doing that, giving back.
Yes.
Whether it's through vouchers and obviously creating this event for the school kids. And it's high schools, right?
Yes. So at this stage, we are only focusing on high schools. It's really important for us that what we do and what we take under our wing, that we do it properly. So I have no doubt at some points in the future, it's going to be primary schools as well. But it's really important that as we roll out and expand this series, that we do it to the standard that's been set and that we maintain that standard.
I still need to come to an event.
No, you really should.
Everything just clashes. There's so much on the go at the moment, especially in the first half of the year in the cycling industry. It's mental. Yeah. But it's definitely on my to-do list.
We'll see you at one of them.
In the school series, what is the biggest age category for the girls? What do you find? Is it the younger girls or the...
So, and it's in line with the same trends that we see for the boys. It's the youngest categories that are the biggest, which we're really excited about because it indicates that more people are taking to the sport. And for whatever reasons, as they're on their journey, there's a drop-off. It's, whether they go to competing sports or whatever it might be, it's the boys, the girls.
I think girls also deal with a lot more than guys do, especially as they're going through puberty. It's a different with guys when they go through puberty, they just get stronger. Yeah, the testosterone, but with girls, I think they withdraw more. They become more self-conscious. Yeah, to put on lycra, whatever the case is. So that's a subject that I think I'm going to have to tackle as well. Is how do we make them feel more secure?
That is the thing.
Yeah, I don't know how.
That is a huge thing. I think, so if I think about the sport of cycling, what's so amazing is it welcomes everyone. Doesn't matter how tall you are, how short you are, how small you are, big you are, it really, like one and all, anyone can come do it. And I think we need to celebrate that more and just communicate that is the case. It doesn't matter if you've never ridden before.
And participation
Yeah.
above competing, I think, is also something that needs to be celebrated. And I'm going to say the word elevated.
Yes. No, 100%.
So, because from there, the bigger the base we've got, the bigger the base, the more feed we'll have going into from the school series XCO races to the Gauteng and the SA XCO races. Have you seen the difference between the two courses? Have you heard anything about the difference between a school series XCO course and a provincial?
I think we need to just make the distinction and view each for what it is. So the school series is aimed at encouraging participation. So we never want to scare the riders away from thinking it's too hectic, it's too scary, and they're afraid to enter, because that then becomes a massive barrier to entry.
The fear of crashing.
100%.
You want to eliminate.
So we don't want to make it a scary space for the kids, and we need to encourage and accommodate for sort of that mass participation. So it's not that technical, hectic, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of more advanced rider skill level. But what our series is it's a springboard to unlocking all of that.
The foundation, building the foundation, which has been lacking. I mean, obviously we did have the previous series before the lockdown era.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was the Spur series.
Yeah.
And it builds the foundation for the next generation of XCO races that could possibly go to Worlds and UCI events, etc., like Candice, who's done so well.
And it's crazy because you start seeing who those individuals are. And that's what's so rewarding, is we see them coming through the series, and you can identify, the kids that are wanting to take it to the next level. They want to become pros. And we see them, and you see they move on from the series, and a lot of them really struggle because they're competing in that under 23 age category. So the jump is massive. So I suppose our advice to them would be to not give up, because I think so many of them get to that level, and it's such a massive difference from where they've been, and they've been the best of the best, to then now becoming, so that's also a key thing. But we definitely see that the kids they're a product of the school series or, series like that.
And I think, as I said, it's that foundation that needs to be built. And if we don't have a foundation, and even if it is slightly less technical routes, it doesn't matter because it is creating those opportunities, which were not there.
Yeah. So it's really important to us, Jo. We survey our riders at the end of each series. And one of the things that did come out was the need for, they want the more technical. So, and our riders and their enjoyment and their satisfaction, it's really important to us. So we're trying to see how we can bring that in.
A-lines and B-lines.
Yeah. So that's the sort of thing that we're now trying to accommodate for. Again, just being mindful of rider safety is paramount and first and forefront in everything that we do. So,
because the last thing you want to do is put someone off.
No, 100%. Yeah. And I mean, I've been there. I've crashed off my bike, got up and thought, this is a sport. I'm not going to do this again, So the enjoyment and the experience is really important as well.
Oh, no, that's good. And well done. Well done to yourself and Cycle Lab. Cycle Lab is one of the brands that was in my top 12 of brands that support women. I think I did that. I think it was earlier this year.
Yes.
So I like to acknowledge and recognize, the brands that are putting something into women in the sport. And in that, it's obviously through the school series, which I recognize. In store, your retail offering for women is probably one of the better across all retail outlets, whether it's a Sportsman's Warehouse even, never mind the other cycling stores.
Yeah.
And then obviously your Cycle Lab Active Woman,
yes,
which I've been heavily involved in personally.
Yeah.
But it's kept rolling, and what is your view on how we can grow Cycle Lab Active Woman and women of my age into the sport?
So like I said, I think a big part of the narrative is to not be afraid and to come give it a try. So one of the things that we're going to be doing for Women's Day coming up is hosting a open day where, so these aren't people that are already within our space. These are people that have wanted to try, have never been brave enough. So what that day looks like is it's an open day. They can bring a friend. We'll help them with basic skills and obviously just vet the different riders just to see sort of where they come in at. So are they really beginner or are they sort of more on an intermediate? Split the groups. We're going to help them with some skill sessions. Then it's, just the day unfolding, riding, having fun, some coffee afterwards. We're going to give them some vouchers and just to get them in a space. And I think that's the key thing, is to allow people to connect with like-minded individuals. So it is daunting and scary when you're one on your own and doing it. But, when you go and you do it with someone else who is in the same space, it's another woman, they haven't ridden a bike before either, it becomes less scary.
Are you going to be hosting that at the Cycle Lab Bike Park?
Yes, we are.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
And are you going to get the Cycle Lab Active Women involved?
Definitely.
Because they all know that place backwards.
Yes. So we've seen them religiously Friday mornings early, and you can't miss them. And it's so cool to see because their commitment it's commendable, and it's really cool to see.
So we've got, for those that don't know, we have the Cycle Lab Active Woman, the skill session early in the morning, and then the social ride, which follows afterwards.
Yes.
So those are really cool.
Yeah.
And we need to see you at one of those.
I know. It's just,
no pressure.
Waking up early is, I did say.
Come to the 8:30 one. Come to the social one.
Yeah. Okay.
See, I'm not even part of Cycle Lab anymore, and I still live the brand, support it 100%.
No.
So it's close to my heart.
No, thanks, Jo. No, I definitely will.
And then on the retail side, I mean, it's daunting walking into a Cycle Lab or any bike shop for that matter. And you stand at that front door and you don't know where to start. But the one thing that I found that you've done really well is you just look up and you can see the woman sign or ladies. I can't remember what it says. So at least I feel if you're new and you're walking into a store and you can feel that there's a little niche, a little corner for you. I mean, that's obviously very intentional.
Yeah, very much so. So what we've been working at quite a bit this year as well is just bringing more women-specific brands into the business. So there's a lot that can be said about a woman climbing onto a male bike, and so many of us do it. Whereas now we're trying to carve that space within our retail environment where we're bringing Live Bikes on board. And that is women specific. They're engineered with women in mind. So there is very much an intentional shift in moving in that direction because we recognize that female riders, the numbers are increasing. We're seeing an increasing number in our rider or our customer base every year. So it's in line with that. It's supporting them and just giving people, more options.
And from the clothing aspect, I think Cycle Lab really do hold the widest range of gear and clothing.
So we're always bringing in more and trying to increase that offering. There's some really beautiful stuff that's coming in, and everyone will see it sort of a little bit later.
And women like to shop.
We do.
Let's be honest. I mean, we often also influence the shopping in the household. So from a business perspective, I feel there should be more focus on women and talking to the woman in the, if it's a mountain biker or road cyclist, but messaging that's going out, talking to women.
Yes, definitely. So, I mean, even if we think about, so women will come into our stores and their intention is not only to shop for themselves, but maybe their husbands, their children.
Generally the kids for sure.
So you'll see that if we look at the number of female shoppers that we've got versus the number of customers that are riding, it is higher because we've got the wives and girlfriends coming in to shop for something for their significant other. So
no, and that's, I think that's a good business. I don't know what you call it. It's not a business model, but a strategy.
Yeah,
a strategy that a lot of people are missing. in this male-dominated industry is talking the softer talking to the woman, and understanding that they do make a lot of buying decisions and choices in the house.
For sure.
The direct.
And I think we'd all be, what's the word I'm looking for? It would be remiss of us to ignore that.
So I appreciate it. I notice it. I notice that Cycle Lab make an effort. So
thanks, Jo. We try.
Compared to, I deal with a lot of brands, and I'm aware of a lot of brands and a lot of businesses in the industry, and quite a few of them, they pay no attention to women in the industry, and that's sad.
It is sad.
I'm like, I'll get hold of them one day. And same thing you were talking about just now, as being at a meeting or a function where you're the only woman at the table. I've experienced that many, many times. And growing up as a tomboy, it's never been a bother for me. But I can imagine, I can see it sometimes makes the men feel uncomfortable as well.
Yeah. I must say, I can't say I've ever walked away feeling like that. And I suppose for me, where the reassurance lies is when I'm out there and engaging with the sport. So whether we're riding stage races, the school series, that gap it's not as hectic in those spaces.
No.
And that's what's great to see, is because more often than not, when you go to, whatever the event is, the number of women there that show up it's a number, and that's so cool to see.
And it's generally moms that are there supporting as well, hey?
Yeah.
On the sidelines.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something we need to latch on there. I'm saying we, like I'm part of the business, but we as women need to latch on to is connecting with them at the events, connecting with the supporters.
100%. So, and often you'll see, especially in the smaller schools, and, I can't make a blanket comment on, who's driving the sports of cycling. But, for the bigger schools, it's not so much of a challenge. But then where you've got the smaller schools that don't have any of the teachers that are, they're
not cyclists themselves generally.
So they kind of, I suppose they're not as invested. And then that's where you see the parents' involvement and the parents' support coming through. Because often it's the parents in those kinds of smaller schools where there aren't many riders, it's not a big sport within the school, that then sort of propel that sport forwards.
So obviously in the school series, you've got the traditional sports, your rugby, hockey, netball, football. Do you think cycling's making a dent?
So again, I can't make a blanket comment for all schools. Some schools it's a key sport within the school environment, others not so much. But I think it is, not only do we have to compete against all the other events that are going on, but competing against other sports is a thing.
But I think it's also giving kids that are not into those traditional sports, it's giving them an opportunity to partake in a school sport, which is it's quite a new avenue for them.
Yeah.
So I find that it's admirable that it's giving
it's
another option.
It's encouraging as well because, like you say, everyone's different. Everyone has different likes. And, you just hope that you can catch someone if they're not interested in any of those mainstream sports, maybe mountain biking's for them.
Yeah, and they don't want to be in the F team rugby.
Yeah.
Or hockey or whatever, whatever sport it is. Yeah, no, I think the schools is where the growth is going to come from. Do you get support from Cycling South Africa?
Yes, we do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We need more support.
Yes. We also, if we look at the relationship we've got with school cycling, we couldn't do this without them. And they're such a key components for us being able to do what we do, and just having the backing of them. Like I said, it
and
gives,
the structures.
Yes,
that they've.
It gives the credibility that we need. And just they've become an ally to us. So it's great.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited about schools. But the next thing is obviously after schools, you get the kids that have flourished and done really well. there is the next level of going to the provincial events. But then once they leave school, then they're just almost left to their own devices. You know, there needs to now be somebody who picks up where you guys are leaving from a university point of view, maybe. And
so I've had this thought many times. You need something that almost bridges that gap. And there is nothing like that. And it's so sad, because I think we lose so many good cyclists because there's not that structure. And
they probably finish with schools, they turn 18, 19 and just feel a little lost, where maybe they haven't reached their full potential at school yet because of they're focusing on academics, or they've also got other sport commitments. Whereas at university, you know, there's a little bit of a, you know, they're just holding. There's like in a holding position. And maybe that's where their potential only kicks in. And we're losing that.
So like I said, and I mean, we see it with the youngsters that leave the series, that step to compete in that next space, it's so big for them. And, you know, they kind of get overwhelmed and they feel, you know, maybe they're not cut out for it. And I think it's just that they're not competing in the space where they need to be.
Going from
being
big
the big
fish, little 100%. Pond. I know, it's okay, we need to think about somebody who can fill that gap.
So it's definitely a thing, and we see it often. Unless you've got someone who feels strongly in the cause and can drive it from their side, you're never going to get the results out of it that you would unless you've got someone who's really committed and in that space trying to propel it forwards.
And having that passion. I mean, I think women ride for very different reasons to men as well, and understanding that. Because competitive cycling, whether it's road, male, female, mountain biking, is such a small part of our sport. I mean, the recreation side and the weekend warrior side is where it's at. That's where the core of our business is.
And we see the same. It's really that we are trying to get to those people that are just starting out. We want to encourage them, help them ride further, you know, ride more comfortably, achieve, you know, whatever goals they've got. And it's just about supporting them along that journey. But if I think to why I ride, like you say, it's probably so different for all of us. But I think if I didn't ride, I'd need to be heavily medicated.
Therapy costs way more than a ride.
For sure. But it offers so much. And like you say, we all take something different out of it. You know, so not only the health things, but mentally and emotionally, what it does for people can't be underestimated.
And it makes you feel like a kid again. I say that probably way too often. But you're riding down a hill, conquering some fears, wind in your face. And it rejuvenates you. Hopefully it keeps us young.
No, definitely. They've proven it, hey? Heart health, all of that, it's got to be a thing, Joe. We can only believe it is.
Just keep putting the sunblock on.
But if I think to, you know, so I suppose like you say, cycling you can do it for so many different reasons. And a lot of the people that we see that are signing up and taking up the sports is families. And you can speak from experience. It's a great way to spend quality time with people. And I think, you know, we should also get that message out there. It's so good to unplug from everything, to get away from the digital age. And for me, that's my quiet time. So whether you're riding with your son, your husband, your daughter.
Do you get to ride with your family?
So I do ride so I've got 2 boys. One rides, the other one, sports are not for him. But I cherish those times. And it's, you know, like I said, that's our quality time. It's the time we get to talk. We're away from all the distractions of real life. And it's great.
And you can almost talk about difficult subjects.
Yes.
Because you're not sitting across, you're facing forwards, hopefully, and you're distracted. So you can, as you say, you can air your feelings about something, or that's actually really cool. I think family is key. also to growth of the sport. So outside of the schools and the youth, promoting it as a family activity, and it gets you places.
100%.
I mean, what is the most exotic place mountain biking has got you?
Wow. My bike has taken me to places I would never have seen. You know, whether it's the top of a mountain, just the most beautiful, surreal landscapes that I've seen that you can't explain to people. But, you know, it was work to get there. It's not paint the story differently. You know, I've had to, and I think that's also a really cool thing is what mountain biking teaches you, or any endurance sport for that matter. You know, sports that are hard, that teach you what grit. And, you know, especially for the youngsters, I think that's an amazing thing it's a good life lesson that they learn from the sport.
That you put the effort in, you reap the rewards. Nothing comes easy.
Yeah. And that things aren't easy, and that you just need to, if you fall off, you know, climb back on the bike and keep
part of the
pedaling.
journey, part of the experience.
Yeah. And it's not always going to be comfortable. It's not always going to be easy, but it's, you know, it's worth it in the end.
Oh, no, it's critical. And what events is CycleLab involved in, from whether it's retail, from a marketing, from you know, you've done some connections with events lately.
Yeah. So, Jo, for us, it is key. I think one of the things that was recognized is, you know, as much as we operate in that retail space, where it comes to the riders engaging with the sport and participating, whether it's road, mountain, gravel, whatever it is, that we weren't always present. And it's key for us because, so if I think back to one of the stage races that I rode, I was lucky enough to do it on an e-bike, which was really cool, until day 2 where I had a problem and I didn't have the knowledge to fix said e-bike. And, you know, I took it to the little bike store there that was supporting the event. And I was just so grateful because they kept me in the event. So I think for me, that was when, you know, my thinking,
a bit of an aha moment.
Yes, definitely. And we need to be there. So we are moving in that space. It's a big thing. I mean, obviously just the manpower, the planning, all of that.
And it's a cost.
And it is a cost. But I mean, you know, aside from that, just being in that
you
space. You
can write it off to marketing.
But just being in that space, it's key for us. And you'll definitely see us moving in that direction, partnering with different events. It's a long process because there obviously is a lot of negotiation that needs to go on. And then it's the coordination with stores and, you know, just trying to find the right resources while balancing, like you say, that cost. So it's definitely something we're working on. There are events that are coming up. Yeah.
Cool.
Watch this space.
I will. You know I will.
Yeah.
And then obviously the growth of CycleLab. I mean, it's been around for this research I should have done, how long CycleLab's been around,
10
but
years.
I didn't. It's long.
Yeah.
No, it must be more than 10 years.
No, it's 10. We turned 10 last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Feels like so much longer.
Yeah.
There's obviously been stores that have come and gone.
Yeah.
What are the plans going forward with CycleLab stores? I know there's a few new ones opening.
So we're super excited. We are, you know, the expansion of the footprints of the stores. Jeepers, that was delicious English. the expansion of the store footprint, there we go, is really important to us. And just being able to provide our offering to new geographic locations is key. So as it stands, we've got 6 stores currently, and then we've got our online store. What's really cool about our online store is we do national delivery. So even if someone's sitting in Biki's Kikifontein, you know, they can, if they want, they can shop online and we'll deliver to them. But with the expansion of the group, we're heading to Belito next.
Yay.
So that's going to be great. We're
Some
really
cool trails
excited.
down there as well.
Yeah, 100%. So, and some of them are already within the, you know, multi-park. So if we look at Hollow Trails, they're part of that. So it makes sense. And I suppose it's about connecting the dots. And as much as we can help people with the gear they've got to ride, we can then point them to a space to ride. So that's also really key for us, is to encourage all the different aspects. But we open up in Belito in August, and then we're heading to Paarl, so in the Western Cape. in September.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're really excited about that. So that's 2 stores in the next 2 months. A lot of preparation going into that. So that's keeping us on our toes. But excited, and there's more coming.
And the format will stay the same. So there will be woman-specific areas to shop in those stores.
Always.
So it's not going to be all mixed in together. Awesome. That's really cool. Very exciting for the brand.
It is very exciting.
Growing. Growth is like, and that in turn will obviously hopefully reach a new clientele in those different geographical regions. You've got Cornubia down in KZN,
yes, we do.
which is a slightly more removed from the masses, I suppose, but in Ballito, you're literally on the trails at Holla.
Yeah, and I think just, if you sort of cast your gaze up that north coast, there's so much opportunity there. And it seems, KZN's been in a bit of a tricky space. So a lot of the people are moving further north. So I suppose it's just us staying with that trend. There's loads of estates down there, loads of families that are looking for things to do, that whole outdoor sport,
it lends itself to it.
It does lend itself.
And I find, or I believe there's lots of Joburgers that will live down there or work in Joburg and live, so they'll commute.
Yeah.
So makes sense.
Does make sense. I wish I could be one of them, but
Pole's a bit far. Pole would be nice, but Pole's a bit far.
Yeah. So, for us, and if we go back to some of the events that we support, and, we've got key relationships with 2 massive events down in KZN. So one being Tour Durban and the other being Amashova. So it just allows us to support those kinds of events in a better way.
From the ground,
yes.
I suppose. Yeah. And staff, I suppose that's a whole new challenge down there.
That is.
Hopefully there's going to be lots of female staff.
I'd like to think. I know that we are still looking, so.
Yeah. I think that's, besides yourself, in Cycle Lab, what other female staff?
So in head office, we've actually got loads.
Lots of admin staff, hey?
Yeah, and even our buying team. So, we've got loads of female there. We've got our buying manager is also female. So it's definitely, we're moving in that direction, and it's great. There are definitely more women in Cycle Lab and at head office than what people would think. So it's really cool to be part of that.
Yeah, it's encouraging. I think more brands, companies need to look to what you're doing and hopefully take your lead.
Oh, thanks, Jo. I suppose we're just trying to connect the dots, and, our female customers are really key and they're important to us, as are all of our other customers, whether they're youngsters, men, it's just about seeing everyone individually, recognizing that they've got different needs and requirements, and just trying to.
And of course, the club is run by a woman.
Yes, correct. And the club is, it's also a great space. Loads of women there, and it's really cool because and you'd see the effect of having academy, and they go from academy into claw potentially, and then maybe into the club, and so there's loads of different spaces for everyone. And it's encouraging.
It caters for everyone.
It does cater for everyone.
I'd like to see more clubs and retail spaces doing exactly the same. But we'll have to wait and see.
No, us as well.
Hopefully talks like this will encourage that. So and make people more aware that we have a voice and we want a space.
Yeah.
We want a space at the table.
100%. And we need to grow that. And, we're in it for the long ride, and, it's something that's important to us, and we appreciate the fact that you've recognized that. It's great to know that we're being seen for that as well.
Props to you guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Jo.
And then on MoreCycle Life.
Yes.
I'm very well aware of MoreCycle Life. I'm not sure if all your customers, I think it's a process getting people to understand how it works. It's a wonderful app.
Yeah.
What percentage of women, do you find more women use your MoreCycle Life offering?
I think we're sitting at Joe, I stand to be corrected. I think we're sitting about the 40% mark of our customers in MoreCycle Life are being female. So it is quite a high, and I suppose the utilization is high as well. So MoreCycle Life it is great.
Yeah, it really is. To me, it's user friendly, and I don't know, being a woman as well, I think we all like a discount or a little saving here or there. We're more aware of it, I think, than men.
And I think what a lot of people might not know, so there's some big changes coming in MoreCycle Life as well. But one of the big things that we rolled out earlier this year was the linking to Strava.
Yes.
So that's really cool. So not only can our customers be rewarded for their shopping behavior, but now we reward our members by their riding behavior. So that's been a key component for us. And we've got more advancements within that sort of technology that are rolling out later in the year. So there's lots of cool things in the pipeline.
That's probably a really good thing about having such good backing.
Yeah.
So as MoreCorp.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
No, thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Taryn. Been awesome chatting.
Yeah.
We must do this again.
We will do
Next time we'll have coffee and cake.
Sounds great.
Or donuts, whatever. And then we can go ride it off.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a plan.
Cool, man. Take
Thanks,
care.
Joe.